We'll now call the January 9th City Council meeting to order. First item tonight, public input. Anyone here that has any public input? Second item, declaration of conflicts of interest in the City Council regarding any agenda item. Any conflicts of interest here? No. Consider authorizing the minutes of the following meetings: December 13th, 2016 council meeting, November 28th, 2016 council meeting, and January the 3rd, 2017 organizational council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments on any of the minutes? All those in favor? Approved. Consent agenda. Department reports. Approval of quitclaim deeds. Approval of council committee appointments. And we have to add Timmy on there for the Nylander board as the council liaison.
I was on there last year.
Okay.
Okay. And approval of the zoning board of appeals appointments.
On the zoning board of appeal of appointments, that's the two that were expired, and they can take, okay, so
Yeah.
then the list is good to go. We're gonna approve that again tonight too, or?
Well, it's just these two that you need to approve. The other ones have already been appointed.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Approved. Ordinance modifying the moratorium on marijuana dispensaries. Manager, please.
So based upon the moratorium that's been put into place on the marijuana dispensaries, the planning board's reviewed the medical marijuana ordinance and recommending no changes be made to that portion of the city ordinance. If they are requesting more time to look at the recreational marijuana side of the law, they would like to do a workshop with the council. Would be invited to attend to discuss the topic further. They have not set a date yet, but if there's a date the council would like to do it, we can schedule for that day. With the site design waiting for a medical marijuana dispensary, they're recommending the council move forward with the ordinance on the following page. The ordinance modifies the moratorium to remove the medical marijuana dispensaries and clarifies the moratorium further based upon recommendations of the city attorney to list out the recreational marijuana facilities and establishments that are a part of the moratorium. So that ordinance can be introduced tonight in a public hearing scheduled for our next meeting.
All right, does council want to set a date to get together and discuss the topic further on the recreational marijuana side?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's good for you guys?
Mr. McDonough's looking at the calendar, and I think Councilor McDougal is as well.
Shouldn't we wait to see what the legislature does? They want to put a moratorium. There's a moratorium built in of 9 months, but they're talking of it going even further.
Right, the workshop is to learn more about the topic, so we're not behind the 8 ball when the law actually goes into effect. I mean, the legislature may or may not change a few things. The rules might take a while from the Department of Agriculture. I think they've got their say on it. So it's really, I mean, it's not to craft a final version of an ordinance, but just to start the process of learning more information.
Phil, what day looks good?
Wait just a minute.
Okay.
In the meantime, the moratorium will be in effect that we won't approve or any retail operations, correct?
Right, our moratorium is in effect, yeah.
Okay.
It's presently in effect until this May 7th.
Okay, how about next Tuesday, the 17th? Does that sound like a good day?
No, can't do that day. Any other day. They can have a workshop.
18th?
18th works.
Wednesday?
I can't do 18, but that's okay.
What time?
6 o'clock?
Oh, okay, then the 17th's fine.
17th is fine.
The 17th's fine. I didn't know if it was going to be a...
17th is fine?
Yeah, that'll work. Either day will work.
Okay.
What time did you say, Phil?
6?
Yep.
All right.
Right
Now we
here.
have to introduce this other ordinance.
Yeah. I'll introduce ordinance number 1, 2017, Surrey City of Caribou, County of Aroostook, State of Maine. An ordinance regarding marijuana dispensaries. Are we gonna use the word dispensary still?
Yes.
And actually, that date will be before the public hearing, correct?
Well, it's just been introduced. We need a public hearing now.
But our meetings will be.
So we'll have, the workshop will be before the public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be beneficial either way.
So you're gonna schedule a public hearing for the, what is the date?
23rd, 2
23rd.
weeks from today.
23rd?
How that works.
17th at 6 o'clock.
For the workshop.
Yeah.
And the 23rd?
Which is,
Oh,
that's our regular meeting.
All right. Next is the 2015 Property Maintenance Code.
So as the International Code Council's come up with the 2015 version of the Property Maintenance Code, staff is recommending we upgrade to the new version. Copies of the full code are available for review here at City Hall and online. The ordinance is on the next page, which can be introduced tonight in a public hearing scheduled for our next meeting on the 23rd.
I introduce ordinance number 2, 2017, series City of Caribou, an ordinance adopting the 2015 edition International Property Maintenance Code.
All right. Ordinance is introduced. Public hearing. Sorry. Councilor Martin?
Is this one of the things you discussed with our legislators?
Code
And what was,
enforcement is
and what was the response?
Mixed at best. They're going to look at some of the other bills that are being introduced to see if there might be something we can tag on to make something, but none of them sponsored anything.
Neither one sponsored anything?
That's my knowledge on this topic.
What about any topic that you talked about?
They're looking at tagging on to some other bills, but I don't believe any of them wanted to, or any of them sponsored a bill for the city of Caribou.
I should write a country song. Who do you represent?
Would it,
Thank you.
would it do us any good to ask them to come in and sit down and discuss some of these things with them to see if we can't get some movement from them? I mean, you should be representative enough, but apparently it's not getting through.
We can do that.
Okay. Because I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to look at the governor's snapshot for the budget, but he's at it again, or still, whichever way you want to look at it, okay?
We need a date for a public hearing on this.
23rd.
23rd as well?
Yep.
Okay. And next we have replacement of engine number 1. Mr. Blease, are you going to speak? Or Mr.
I can speak, yeah.
Sushi, or who's going to?
So tonight, I'll read the memo that the fire chiefs provided. Tonight, we're presenting a proposal to replace engine 1 at the fire station. Engine 1 is our first out, and primary Class A pumper, our only Class A pumper. During the 2017 budget process, we noted the truck would need replacement before its 25-year age because of what was thought to be corrosion issue with the front cab support. On recommendation from the council, Chief Susi had a certified EVT emergency vehicle technician come in and do a complete inspection of the truck cab for the safety of our firefighters, the public on the road with, and respond to for our emergencies. So on December 6, 2016, Curtis Daigle, the certified EVT, performed a limited inspection on the Caribou Engine 1. The inspection was limited to visual inspection. The information gathered was provided to Caribou Fire and the management team to evaluate the condition of this fire apparatus. What was first thought to be a corrosion issue turned out to be structural faults. The following are the details and suspicions regarding this piece of equipment. An exterior inspection of the cab reveals stress cracks at different points around the cab structure. Hairline fractures exist from the top rear to the front face panel. The underside of the cab reveals more aggressive cracking around the radiator support, floor pan, and the cab exterior skin. These cracks are in the finish and the cab skin area of the occupant compartment. Additionally, signs of physical interaction between the broken pieces is evident from the black streaks and the small aluminum filings found during the inspection. The most concerning and most severe part of the structure damage is the failure of the main structure support of the cab. The main aluminum beams supporting the cab and the surrounding reinforcements have severe cracks in the structure, along with cracking/failure of the welds securing the cab rollover structure to the main frame. Also very evident is the complete cab has dropped down from the sagging of the main structure and is hitting the front bumper cover plate and upper side of the vehicle frame rails. The cab tilt hydraulics are straining to lift the cab due to the conditions mentioned above. In addition to this issue, the apparatus has been having electrical issues such as failure of hydraulic system for cab tilt, overheating the electrical panel, erratic engine gauges, inaccurate gauges in cab, and a total melting of the overhead switch panel. At this time, we suspect that undue mechanical pressure from the cabway distressing the main wiring harness. So in order to provide a greater detail of severity of the condition of this unit, engine 1 would need to be completely stripped of the finished trim from the interior of the vehicle, remove the floor covering, the ceiling liner, and driver passenger seats to accurately detail all of the failures that are occurring in the unit. The department has received an electronic file of the photos taken of what could immediately be seen during the inspection. Note that the door frames are also cracked in the hinge areas of the entrance doors. The inspection concluded with a recommendation this vehicle be removed from service until a thorough inspection can be performed. Judging from the current evidence seen during the inspection, safety of this vehicle has been severely compromised and creates a safety issue for both the public and the department personnel. Since the inspection, the current response structure has been changed for the department to accommodate this recommendation, thus putting more strain on our remaining fleet. The starting price for a complete inspection and general repair is $168,000, and this includes an $8,000 engineer review. This is an estimate number because any problems found, then needed parts would have to be manufactured because the company that makes the chassis for the truck went out of business 3 years ago. This type of work is estimated to take between 5 and 6 months, and with no upgrades, just fixing the issues noted and still leaving the city with a 20-year-old truck. In an effort to try and save money and improve efficiency, my recommendation would be to replace engine 1 with a rescue pumper, which is 2 trucks in one. The city could trade our rescue truck in and place the old engine out to bid. No company would want the truck due to the age. The city would replace 2 trucks with one, saving money by not having to replace both in the future. The city would also save by only having to send 1 truck to an accident instead of 2, 1 rescue and 1 with water. It would be more efficient to run just 1 truck with personnel, not having extra people taking trucks and equipment and maintenance on 1 truck instead of 2. The timing of this catastrophic issue with this engine is not what was planned and has placed great stress on both the fire chief and the crews. The safety of our personnel and the citizens is priority. Getting the right equipment to an incident for safety or to save a life is priceless. The ability to provide mutual aid is compromised right now, being down 1 truck, and as you all know, we rely on mutual aid, so we have to reciprocate mutual aid. The cost of a rescue pumper will cost $585,000, including the trade-in of rescue number 6. The purchase would save the city from future purchases of a rescue truck in the future and maintenance costs for multiple trucks. A Class A pumper alone is $525,000 and still leaves us with the future replacement of our rescue and improvements needed for it. Costs go up 5% a year on fire apparatus, and right now the company we've been dealing with has agreed to keep the pricing until January 16th, an additional savings of $30,000. The multi-vocational pumper, the MVP, would cost the city $116,996 with 0% financing through the company for the next 5 years. So it's almost $117,000 a year. That's a special offer that they are offering right now for financing of trucks, of this truck. The fire chief is here and he can answer any questions the council might have.
Who's the company we're dealing with?
Right now, it's sorry, Mayor, it's Ferrera, Ferrera. It's a company we've purchased the last 2 from.
And where are they?
Louisiana.
What's the MVP? I don't know where the connection is there.
Most valuable player.
Yeah, I know
The
that.
multi-vocational pumper.
That's you.
That's the
It's a rescue pumper.
Yeah, the
It's just-
cost of a rescue pumper is $585,000. Then the last line says it's gonna cost the city $116,000.
per year.
Per year for the next 5 years.
Oh.
If we finance it that way, which is an option.
Well, why not for 0%?
0% sounds good. How much money do we have in reserve?
$116,000 into the reserve in 2017.
Right, sorry, from the new budget.
Oh,
We don't
you
have,
haven't been putting money in to replace this thing?
We have, but the council replaced engine 2 twice. So 5 years ago, it got upgraded, and then we actually had to replace it last year because it was faulting on pump tests and rusting out again. So we spent $600,000 for a $300,000 truck.
And then the council reduced the amount put into the fire.
And we're
equipment
going
reserve
back to the
last
same company?
No,
No.
no, no.
Who's the dealer for them here? They have a dealer here in Maine that does servicing and that? like this Ferrara?
Oh, yes, northeast emergency apparatus.
Northeast.
So if we have a problem, they show up, take care of whatever it is.
And where are they?
Lewiston, Auburn area.
Life expectancy of these 2 new trucks, or 1 new truck, what is the projected?
It's a first out truck. I would project 15 years.
Have we got anything else to buy in the next 5 years in the time that we, okay,
In our
so,
capital improvements.
No, ma'am.
so if we put like the 116,000 a year into the, well, instead
Then
of
you'll have to
capital
be putting away.
improvements, it'd be,
Plus the 100,000 a year for the ladder truck.
well, how many years before we have to replace?
10.
Okay, so if we dedicated that money for a year, for 5 years, then we'd still have another 5 years to start putting money into.
That's $1 million
put 100,000.
purchase.
Oh, it is, okay. Well, then.
Either way, you're not gonna have $1 million.
Maybe they'll finance it at 0%.
Yeah.
Do we need a ladder truck argument again? Do we have, is this in the budget, 116?
We put in 116,000 into the capital reserve for 2017.
And that's the budget we just passed? So it's there for.
But we need
So there was,
170.
I think, wasn't there some money left over and we put 100,000?
There's 16,000 left. We put
Right,
100,000.
okay, thank you.
Right, so it's there for the first year.
Right.
Almost.
And then tentatively scheduled for next year, a $200,000 addition to the capital improvements to replace that truck in 2018, if I recall the discussion.
Yes.
There
Yes.
wasn't any money for the, there wasn't, if you got 2 trucks, we weren't saving for both of them, we were just saving for the,
Yeah, we only,
putting a little.
yeah, as that 5-year window comes in, that's kind of what I've found to be the step for replacing a truck or a big purchase like that. The ladder, that's $1 million purchase. I mean, by the time we look down that road in 10 years. So
How soon is this truck available?
I would have to make arrangements, meet with them by Wednesday, so they could get the plans out to save that 5% increase. And then they're talking 90 to 120 days.
I guess, I mean, have we spent a lot of time looking at fire trucks this weekend? Just new, used, everything, and there's a lot of fire trucks out there for sale. And I guess one part that bothers me, a lot of them are 30 years old and are just coming out of service. 30 years. We're at 18 years with this.
Same thing we did, Mayor, on Tanker 4. That easily lived its 25-year life, but it was built a lot different.
You know?
Yeah, but how many tanks did you put in before?
One.
We had to fix it once or
Once.
twice. Yeah.
But the frame, the truck
Yeah.
itself,
Yeah, and I'm
was
sure some
steel.
of these others have had, tanks not replaced too.
Yeah, I mean, it was steel.
They
The
cracked,
truck was
yeah.
built to last. I mean, today they're not built like they were. There's a lot of plastic and wearable parts.
And I get, the biggest problem I have with this whole scenario is, we talked about this truck here back, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, whatever, and we talked about how it was corroded. The corrosive was so bad that we were going to have to replace it. And now we find out that that isn't the case at all. It's, structural cracks, defects. And my own experience with that kind of things happening are with vibratory equipment and that in manufacturing plants. And it always starts, and yeah, if you don't fix it, you end up the whole thing, the whole vibrator and everything cracks and you lose the whole works. And I guess my concern is, what are we going to do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? I mean, is there something we can do, or is there somehow that we can, whether we can do the inspection ourselves, and maybe we can't, because I don't know a whole lot about it, and obviously nobody that works for the city knows a whole lot about it, or we wouldn't have this problem. So is there something else that we can do to make sure that with the new truck we buy or with the existing trucks we've got, that we aren't going to have this scenario again down the road? Because If you claim it's because the new trucks aren't made anything like the old ones, well, Jesus, we got 4 trucks or something now that are newer than what these old ones were. So are we looking at that kind of thing with all of them, or what?
It's used, but you also have to remember, American France isn't in business anymore. And they went out of business for a reason. And that's one of the issues out there. It's not localized to the city
So
of Caribou.
you don't think that this new truck would be a problem in 15 years then? I thought you just said that here a few minutes ago, but
No, I said replacement time in about 15 years. A first out truck isn't gonna make it 10 to 15 years for usage. That's how things are built today.
so it doesn't matter if it would be American or France or somebody else. None of them are built well enough to last. And,
For first out.
well, I know we say first out, but again, we're talking about a truck that's got 28,000 miles on it. And, as I say, I've looked at a lot of trucks this weekend. 128,000 miles, 156,000 miles. They were taken out of service, the end of 2016. So, and everything from ones that are 30 years old to, I even looked up the 98 American LaFrance pumpers, and there's quite a few of them around. None of them have the structural problems that we've got. But, there's a lot of them around too that are available and for sale, so. Like I say, my concern is that whatever we end up having to do here, whether we end up having to replace the truck or whether it's worthwhile repairing or whatever, what are we going to do to make sure that this isn't a reoccurring scenario here?
I think about the only thing we could do is budget every year for the EVT to come in and inspect the fleet. I mean, inspect all of the trucks.
And maybe that's what we should be looking
And
at.
that's very affordable to do that.
At least if you see something that's happening, you can get
Does the
you
new,
know,
Yep,
a
agreed.
little further ahead of time.
No, agreed.
so does the new truck that you want, does the cab tip forward?
Yeah,
So
but it's built quite a bit differently than what we have now. And
I
the
was just wondering how
weights are quite a bit different.
Now, and again, the price, you've got this price from where this dealership is in Lewiston or whatever. Have we priced anywhere else, or?
I priced another one and I came in with the same thing.
Yeah.
It's actually less, but we'd have to add 3% for financing and 35,000 for an updated cab. Once you add those two into it, it was the same price. For the same, looking at the same truck. Now this is a 2-in-1. We can reduce it and go apples to apples and get another,
I understand
just
that,
a
another
straight
pumper.
pumper truck and keep the fleet the way it is.
Which brings me to another question. We've spent a lot of money on this rescue truck. How much are we being allowed for that on this trade-in?
40,000.
$40,000.
Yep.
And then that
From
brings
two
another question
two
to my mind.
companies.
Not too long ago, we talked about a capital deal for, I don't know, $10,000
To put a tank in it.
put a tank and a pump on it.
Yep.
I mean, is that still feasible to do that? And would that serve any
Yep.
part of our needs right now, or?
It would serve for a rescue truck. I'd still have to buy a pumper.
You haven't bought that tank?
I haven't bought any of that, no. Nope, that all ended after we had
Okay.
the inspection.
In the current number one, nobody will give you anything?
No.
They won't take it out?
The cab's splitting apart. It's, no.
For fire use.
What would we do with it?
For fire use, right. We could put it out to bid and
Farmer could take and haul water with it or something?
absolutely, once you get rid of all the weight in the cab from the packs and the equipment and the tools, it's gonna lighten that up. The engine still runs great. It's got good rubber on it. I mean, someone would have a use for it, just wouldn't be emergency use.
So then we really have to determine, is it worthwhile fixing it? If we could get another 5 years out of it. I don't know. Because like you say, and the engine has to be good, it's got 28,000 miles on it. I don't know if we've ever changed the tires on it or not, but,
Yeah.
I mean, well, then there can't be much mileage or anything on them. I know that last year when you checked them, the pump and everything still passes, it still has the puts out the quantity that it needs and everything else,
Yep.
so. I mean, do we look further and then do we look at trying to fix it? And get 5 years out of it?
This is, you gotta remember, this is a starting price. So whatever they get into, this just goes up from that point. And once they
And
start.
who gave you this price to do
committed.
this work?
Autotronics gave me this.
Okay,
Their technician came in and looked at the truck just as a checklist and a certification checklist. And then went all through it. And then we did get a photo library of all the issues that they did find just on the cab area. It has nothing to do with the rest of the truck.
Has anybody else looked at it for a second opinion also?
The only other one I could do is take it downstate to like Lewiston or somewheres and bring it to a
What
facility
about
like
your
that.
local body shops and stuff like that? A lot of this is mechanical and body,
Yeah,
okay?
it
So-
still has to be certified.
Well, would you explain that certification
I
process?
gave it to you in the NFPA standard.
You did?
Yep.
And I read that. And I read that with great interest. And also read that these are only recommendations, right? And we're not
Absolutely.
mandated by this document.
No,
Okay, so that's why I go back to that question. You know, and it doesn't probably hurt to just look. That's all, okay? So I don't want anybody sit here and have the impression that we have to do this.
No.
Okay, we don't have to do that, and maybe we just ought to get a second opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay? But I am concerned how we got to where we were, as the mayor mentioned also, okay?
I mean, we'd end up spending 200,000+ minimum, and that's 2 years payments on a new truck. And
And then we gotta replace it in a couple of years after
Yeah.
that.
I don't think that's the way to go.
Yeah, because we'd have what, in 5 years' time, what are you looking at a price that you would be paying?
5% a year.
5% a year, okay, so 25% on top of
Just like your social security.
that. Yeah, right.
The other thing to take into consideration also is that, and Scott just mentioned it, but you gotta be thinking ahead, is that within 3 years now, you're gonna have boom, 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 3 trucks come up for replacement, depending on the life expectancy of them. Just about. The one you got from FEMA, and pump number 2, whatever.
Those are gonna be good trucks for a longer life because they don't get the
You got
use.
25 years, right?
Yeah.
Minimum, okay, so
Yeah.
they're all gonna be right there.
Those
So
ones
when
will.
you're forecasting your capital improvements,
Absolutely,
okay?
no, I agree.
Then your capital improvement program basically is out of money today, with the exception of 100,000 you put in there. If you look 5 years down the road and you buy a new fire truck, you're at 0 again, okay? And then you gotta struggle for a ladder truck, or,
Well, the next replacement
Yeah.
would be the ladder. That'd be
right.
10 years out.
2027, correct?
Yes, sir.
what was the price on the pumper, just to get I know you had a price on a pumper here too.
An apples to apples one,
Yeah.
about between 5 and 525.
Oh, okay, I thought it was 465 or something.
Yeah, right here, pumper alone is 525.
But that would be without trading in the other truck.
That's
Just
with
get
the
a
trade.
pumper.
No, that's with the trade. That I got them both from one company for that set.
Trading in the rescue truck for a straight pumper, and then we wouldn't have a rescue truck?
Yeah. Or you'd have to add 40,000 to that piece.
Do you know the approximate cost we have invested in the rescue body and the chassis that it sits on today?
It was 300,000 when they did the whole take one off, new body. It was 300,000 for that whole piece.
So do you feel that the rescue truck today is valued at approximately $300,000?
No.
What do you value it at?
What do I value?
Yes, you.
Myself I would look at it and value it at 100,000. Myself. It doesn't haul water. If it had a tank and pump, it would have been a little more worthwhile truck. It would serve more than one purpose. Right now, it hauls extra tools and the big pieces you need for a rescue: cribbing, extra set of jaws, that
I'm
kind
just
of
looking
stuff.
at the asset itself.
The asset itself, it's a great asset because we don't have the storage in our other vehicles to carry that extra equipment.
Right.
But it also takes another man to take that with a truck with water in it, where I could put 2 people in one engine and get all the equipment.
I'm with you there. I'm talking about the value of the vehicle.
The
okay?
value,
$40,000 is quite a hit from $300,000
I agree.
3 years ago.
That was for two trucks though.
Okay, so what was the value of the?
The chassis was like 88,000.
Okay, and then now the box.
Was it 90?
That was brand new.
Yeah, no, they built that. So
Right.
that was 90-ish, if I remember right, Phil. I can't remember.
So that's
exactly.
$170,000 roughly.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's $130,000 depreciation in 2 years, 2.5 years.
From 2 companies, I got the same value.
Isn't some of that labor though, how much of that is actually labor to put that all together?
The way it was broke down, I can't answer that. I don't know. I just know the total bill that came, and I do have the receipt for the
No
chassis
way to
itself.
Build a new window. I guess the other thing that comes to my mind is if you, you're talking about first out all the time. If you put this tank and the pump on the rescue truck, you wouldn't have to take the pumper out to these accidents.
No, I agree.
And that probably is a lot of the use that, that it gets. So would you be better off to go down the path we were looking at and spend $10,000 on the rescue truck and just get another pumper? I mean,
It's
because
totally.
if you do this the way you're talking now, this one's going to have to go out to everything all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It has been anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it does go out.
Right along.
It won't though if you do what we talked about with the rescue truck, putting the tank on.
But is it, how big of a tank is the tank you're talking about putting on the rescue truck?
It was 300 gallons and like a forestry type pump, just enough to get
Yeah.
water and foam and expand the water with the foam, for the most part.
And so how big is the tank on number 1? I don't remember.
1250.
So, if you run out of water, you've got to call a fire truck, and they got to come out anyways.
Yeah, if you do, but, for car accidents,
No, I know. I'm
You
just
know.
saying sometimes you use a lot of water.
I'm just
be able to
talking
determine
about
that
what
when you
was
got there, though,
recommended
most
to
likely.
us.
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah.
To put this tank and everything
No,
on there
no, I
so
know.
that we wouldn't have to take the other truck out. Now we want to argue that you're going to have to take the other truck out anyway. What is it? This is the part that is very frustrating with this whole scenario is the picture just seems to keep changing a little bit all the time. And
My picture's solid. We need a Class A pumper. My only thing for doing the rescue pumper piece was literally to save down the road of replacing another truck down the road, if I could do it all in one, and have all the equipment we needed on one truck. Maintenance costs for 2, I mean, you still have to maintain them whether it gets used every day or not every day.
But again, if you've got the 2, how long is a rescue truck's life? Is this a 15-year deal too? Or because that's all it is, it's longer? And if you don't have to take the pumper out every time as a pumper rescue truck, then its lifespan should be
It's still
longer. But if you just have the pumper rescue, you're telling me it's 15 years because it's first out all the
a
time.
Class A pumper still
So
going to be probably around 15
you still
years.
might be better off to have 2 trucks and replace 2 trucks than to have to replace one every 15 years.
The first out one, you're still looking at the same time frame. That does everything for us. We don't have any backup vehicles with the equipment on them. They're not. They weren't spec'd out for that. Simply honestly to save money when we spec those out.
But you're not talking first out for accidents and that.
No, for
So-
all the investigations,
Yep.
smoke, CO, anything we do in that line, that truck is still going to be the first one out.
And when do you need to know to get the best deal?
Tonight,
Like, okay.
When's the last? 16.
So you have less than a week.
So you take a a fire truck out at every accident?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know what your ratio is to how many times you actually need this fire truck when you take it out? Is it most of the time you don't really need it, you just take it out for safety purposes? Or do you, what I'm getting at is, would it be more cost effective to simply have a rescue truck go out at every accident instead of the big first out truck?
The rescue truck's a big truck too. It's whichever one you want to send. Right now though, the rescue doesn't have any water on it.
Okay, but, okay, so what would it cost to, yeah, it's only gonna be $585 versus $525, right? Okay.
And the only, if we sold the rescue truck, you might get more, but like you said, there's fire trucks for sale everywhere. So, and we may have to sit on it for 2 years. So, you know, to try to get more money, but I don't.
I would think you can get more than 40,000.
I would have thought so too, and that's through 2 different brokers.
No, I mean,
Selling it
selling
privately.
it yourself.
Yeah, someone's gonna have to need it.
We go through that with the other, we're gonna sell one and we drew the bid back and we thought about taking it to Canada or some sort and then didn't materialize.
It was because of grant money, wasn't it? Wasn't it because
Well,
of grant money?
I don't remember. But
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
truck
that one of
couldn't be
them
used
was.
for-
Right.
Was
It
that
can only
what-
be
that-
used
that's
for,
what the
it couldn't be
reason was.
never a fire truck again.
That's
Right.
why, and then we tried,
And you couldn't sell it, can't, yeah.
it didn't matter where it was.
Obviously, fire trucks are different than just about every other motor vehicle because I come back again to the fact that I know it's first out. It's got 28,000 miles on it. And to me, that, you know, there must be a big difference in being first out in the Caribou Fire Department as opposed to the first out in New York City, where, you know, first out there probably means 10 times a day. Here it's, you know, whatever. So that's how I have the trouble with getting that it's only good for 15 years because it's first out all the time.
The bumpy roads, I think.
You know, but it's 28,000 miles, Jimmy.
But if you,
And I'm looking at trucks that have got 150,000
there's
miles.
a difference between highway miles and country miles.
Oh,
You know,
so
you beat the
I-
crap out of these fire trucks driving up and down. Go out the Woodland Center Road in the springtime.
Well, it's because of this truck too, because it structurally is not sound. I mean,
This
you would have
isn't
probably
uncommon
gotten
for
your,
American LaFrancis.
if it would have been a normal truck with the normal, you know, not had that
Well,
much
we
problems.
quit talking about American LaFrance because we're saying that no matter whose it is, it's first out, it's only good for 15 years.
That's the
So whether it's
expected.
American LaFrance or whether it's just Ferrera or whether it's,
We don't know that for sure. Maybe
No, it's
15
expected.
years from now,
Yeah, it's expected.
they could say,
That's-
hey, we can get another 5 years or another
Absolutely.
year.
Yep, absolutely.
We won't know until 15 years from now.
and I guess the only other question with that, when I look back through the capital requirements when I first started on council and everything, there was never a truck that was only scheduled for 15 years. They were 25 years, so something has changed again in the 4 years that I've been on council, that now all of a sudden fire trucks' history has gone from 25 years to 15 years. And I don't know what that is.
Are the fire trucks washed every time they come back?
Yes.
So, I mean,
It's not corroded anyway.
it's not corroded.
It's not corroded, no.
Okay.
That was the big thing, to pull that cover sheet off and have him do that. And when he did, I mean, everything's twisted. It's down 1.25 inches on the passenger side.
Did you have pictures?
I didn't have the pictures in there. I can forward all
No,
of them.
no, I'm just wondering.
When I look at the year-to-date calls, I mean Woodland and New Sweden and Connor, I mean there's 31 calls of, you know, year-to-date is 220, which means, you know, 90% of them are here in the city. So, you know, it's not like we're beating the ace out of them driving on the country roads and everything all the time.
Yeah, but you can drive 10 miles and still be in the city.
Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
know
it's got a lot
that,
of
I understand that.
The roads aren't that smooth. It's not Dave's fault. I know he's not here to defend himself, but
Well, I don't think we should be compromising on safety, that's for sure.
I think it goes back to the, make a purchase or not, we need to go along and continue with these inspections on a yearly basis, whether it's the whole fleet or not, so we're better aware of what can be coming, you know, so
That's easy to set up.
You know, that's
I'd be
easy to
glad
set
to
up.
do
I
that.
think
Yeah, I'd
really
be glad to
needs
do
be
that.
done.
The ladder truck's its own entity. They do that on a yearly basis now. They come in when they do the ladder, they do the entire truck because the ladder is the entire truck. The whole framework for it is the subframe. So they do the entire ladder. It would just be inspecting.
The same people you're talking about?
No,
Oh.
no, there's a separate company that does aerials
Do
that
your
we
whole
have come in
fleet,
yearly.
just to look at time.
Do they do other things as well, or do they just
They do, but I could get it at a better rate if I went through another company to do the certification on the other trucks. I'd love to do that.
I feel it needs to happen.
Well, I guess one thing to clarify right off the bat, we're not looking for
Yeah.
a certification, we're looking for an inspection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, but right, they're just certified to give you an inspection on them, that's all. Yeah.
Eric, and I move we follow the chief's recommendation, buy the combination and finance it for 5 years at 0%.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Pass. 5-1.
Thank you.
The other truck, the other engine. You talked about putting it out to bid.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's not being used at all now anymore? I mean, is that the determination?
Mayor, it has to be right now. I don't have a choice. So it's only being used as a backup when we have a working fire.
Okay, it's not first out anymore.
No.
All right.
No, it's not used.
Well, then
for
my
anything.
suggestion is gonna be that once we do this, we then take that truck and we take it to some of the local places and get them to look at it, give us a price on fixing it up, and then determine whether we'd be better off to fix it up to try to sell it, or
Oh.
whatever, rather than just selling it as it is. First of all, I don't wanna be selling something that isn't safe to anybody else, so.
Absolutely. And if you would like, I can have them start now.
Well, we can have somebody look at it now, yeah, locally.
Sure.
See what they can do as far as fixing it, what they think it'll be involved to fix it. And, you know, then we can determine either we're gonna scrap it or we fix it and sell it.
Bring it to a farmer's machine shop. You'd be amazed what those guys can do.
I've had some comments already what could be done with it.
Yeah. All right,
Bring it to Jody in his spare time. He could probably do it.
all right, other business. The only other business I know we got a draw for a gift certificate here for the dog license renewal for the veteran certificate.
Two things. Look at the Lions building. We budgeted to do a replacement this year.
Yep.
Are we gonna address heat loss?
It's gonna be part of the, yeah.
So we're doing more than the roof, we're gonna do the insulation as well.
Well, that was part of the whole quote, or the, no, I shouldn't say quote, but estimate.
The estimate was putting new insulation up on the top before covering the roof.
And it's gonna have the same type of covering this time as
No, sir.
just gonna have an umbilical?
The covering, we had two, we had two coverings listed for that when they come in. One of them was a membrane covering.
Right.
The second one was a metal covering.
Right.
And both estimates included changing where you enter the building, putting a pitched roof there away from the side so water doesn't
Yeah,
run onto the
that's
steps,
good.
and so it would push water away from the building.
So what is the material gonna be put on the roof? Have you decided yet?
No, they were gonna give us whatever they could get the best price on at the time, whether it be membrane or metal. We were hoping for metal, so it would be clear itself.
Right now.
Doesn't clear itself now.
Right now it has stone.
There's all kinds of metal that are clearing themselves right now, that ain't gonna solve it.
I agree. Right now, I
And that hasn't got that big a slope on it, that roof.
It doesn't have, no, that was gonna be addressed at the same time too, in order to get the snow to move, but it included without having it in front of me, I thought it was 4 inches.
Okay, but I just noticed that,
It's horrible.
you know, it's awful, okay?
Yeah. But that was gonna be addressed in that.
That's probably why the
part.
roof's leaking. I mean, it's all backing up, it's not,
Yeah.
it's because it's not insulated properly.
Well, it leaked all summer. It's just, it's worn.
Does the city clerk have the ballots ready? We gotta get.
Well, I got
Mr.
one
Police
more
on it.
thing here.
Oh, sorry.
And our Quonset structure up at the Public Works collapsed?
Yes, sir.
Ones just don't collapse.
The one from DRMO, the fabric.
Oh, fabric.
The big one, the real big one there.
I haven't been up there in a while. So is that like
done now.
Is that like one of these domes that can be reinflated?
No.
No.
No, it's not.
No, that will have to go away.
Metal structure with a fiber top over the top of it, like a tent.
Like the fertilizer building.
Okay. I have to give my seal up to the podium first.
No,
Okay.
not quite as good.
Pull the microphone down, please.
Dog licensing starts October 15th, and we sell dog licenses. We've got in here the tote is about 512 dog licenses that were done between October 15th and December 31st. And the winner, the lucky dog, will get a $50 gift certificate at the vet, their choice. And they also, the owner often has their picture in the paper with their dog and with a police officer giving the gift certificate. And a photograph of the dog becomes the poster dog for the next year's 2018 dog license poster. So, you know, there's excitement licensing your dog. But I want to remind people that dog licenses, there's no late fee. You're late, but you're not so late that there's a late fee until February 1st. And starting February 1st, a $6 dog will cost $31, and an $11 dog will cost $36. So we encourage you to come in and license your dog before you get a call from the law enforcement, and that would be the police, calling to remind you to do your dog. So here we are.
Has the dog population, why has the dog population gone down in Caribou?
You're looking at revenue?
I'm looking at the number of licenses we've issued.
I think that we're every other year with about our numbers on dogs. Some of it has to do with issues out of my control.
Do I only have one or do I have two?
You have one.
What determines the cost of the license, the $6 dog and the $11 dog?
$6 dog is one spayed and neutered, and $11 is for those that can produce young.
The fees are all set by the state, including the late fees.
Correct.
The
Yeah,
city
well, I know
doesn't set
that.
those fees.
But I couldn't remember the part about $6 and $11.
Do we get
So-
to keep the penalty fees?
Yes, we get to keep the penalty fees. That $25, we
Yeah,
get to
that's
keep
all.
all of it.
So why are we encouraging people to?
Any other new business?
Oh,
gotta
let me
tell you-
announce the winner.
Oh,
The lucky dog
Quote
is
you in the
The
paper on
cop
that.
doesn't always call either. I know people that they've actually gone to the house.
okay. Well, Teddy is the winner, and it's Ron and Brenda Cody. So I will try calling Ron and Brenda Cody tonight. And Teddy the dog, the new poster dog for Caribou.
Now, do you think the dog would rather have a massage and something than go to a vet?
And some treats. And
Cases of
For the last 2 years, it's actually provided dog food because the dogs have been on specialty diets.
Oh.
any other new business? I get a motion to adjourn
There you
here.
go.
Second.
All in favor? We're adjourned.